The house wakes before anyone else does, breathing through walls that still smell new, watching a boy who already knows something is wrong. Silence presses harder than fear, and it doesn't blink first. They moved here to forget, but forgetting never follows instructions. The lake outside reflects too much sky, and the forest stands too close, as if listening, as if waiting for someone to admit the truth first. When the car finally arrives, the boy runs, heart racing ahead of hope. The door opens slowly, and what steps out looks like his mother, but feels like a question nobody prepared him to answer. Bandages swallow her face, erasing expressions he memorized since birth. Her voice sounds right, but timing feels off, like a song sung half a second late, turning comfort into something sharp and uncertain. Inside, new rules appear without discussion. Curtains stay closed. Noise becomes forbidden. The house turns into a sealed box, and the boy learns quickly that questions earn looks colder than punishment. Meals feel wrong. Plates are placed carefully, but not evenly. The boy notices what's missing before he notices what's there, and the absence sits across from him like an invisible sibling. She talks past him, not to him. Her eyes slide away mid-sentence, fixing on empty space, responding to silence like it spoke first. The boy starts answering questions nobody asked out loud. At night, dreams leak into waking hours. He sees her walking into the forest, bandages unraveling as if the trees are pulling them loose, revealing something underneath that refuses to stay still. Morning doesn't erase the feeling. It sharpens it. The boy tests boundaries, louder steps, slammed doors, stolen glances, measuring how much resistance the house will tolerate before it pushes back. Her patience breaks without warning. Anger flashes fast, practiced, followed by regret that feels rehearsed. The boy realizes fear isn't accidental here, it's part of the structure holding everything up. He starts watching her when she thinks he isn't there. Counting steps. Tracking habits. Learning the rhythm of a stranger pretending to remember a life she may have only studied. Photographs become evidence. He lines them up, old smiles against the new face, searching for mismatches. Every comparison answers one question and opens three worse ones he isn't ready to ask. She notices the scrutiny. Her tone softens too late, offering gifts that feel like apologies wrapped in distraction. The boy accepts them, already planning how far they might help him run. Outside, the world feels louder, freer, dangerously normal. He tests the boundary line, memorizing paths, spotting landmarks, imagining what it would feel like to tell someone who might actually listen. The plan forms quietly, like mold in the walls. He waits for a moment of weakness, kindness, or distraction, anything that proves she can still be surprised by him. That moment comes wrapped in calm. She smiles beneath the bandages, voice steady, promising things will be different now. The boy nods, knowing calm has always been the most dangerous phase. When the door opens, he doesn't hesitate. Air rushes past like freedom itself, and his feet decide before his mind can catch up, sprinting toward noise, people, and witnesses. The town feels unreal, faces blurring together, every adult a possible savior or another closed door. He chooses the oldest building he can find, hoping age equals authority, and authority equals safety. He tells his story fast, tripping over details, desperate to be believed before doubt arrives. The listener nods slowly, kindness practiced, eyes measuring more than they reveal. The ride back is quiet. Too quiet. Familiar trees reappear, bending inward like arms closing. The boy realizes too late that rescue and return sometimes wear the same face. She doesn't yell when he's brought back. That scares him more. Her composure feels like a locked door clicking shut, sealing them inside a version of the house that won't allow mistakes. Night falls heavier than before. The boy hears the house settling, wood popping like distant footsteps, and for the first time, he wonders if the walls remember things he's forgotten. Sleep fractures. He dreams of hands tying knots he doesn't know how to undo, of voices arguing over him like he isn't present, like he's already been decided. Morning brings resolve. Fear turns sharp, purposeful. If she won't answer questions, he'll force answers to exist, even if the truth breaks something that can't be repaired. Rope feels heavier than expected. Every knot ties him closer to a decision he can't walk back from. He tells himself this is the only way families tell the truth. She wakes confused, then terrified. The roles reverse instantly. Authority drains from her voice as she realizes how completely control has changed hands. He asks the same question again and again, waiting for it to land differently. Her answers don't change, but the cracks in her certainty begin to show, thin and dangerous. Time stretches cruelly. Hunger, exhaustion, and fear blur together until cruelty feels logical. The house doesn't intervene. It simply watches, patient as rot. She begs him to stop. Not as an authority, not as a threat, but as something softer and more desperate. For a moment, the boy almost listens. Then doubt returns, louder than empathy. He notices small inconsistencies, marks that don't align with memory, details that suggest editing rather than healing. His resolve hardens again. She's left alone with him, and the house holds its breath. Her voice lowers, telling stories meant only for him, memories heavy with guilt and unfinished apologies. She tells him about loss, about accidents, about surviving something that splits a family down the middle. The boy listens, heart pounding, because some truths sound better when whispered. For the first time, he loosens a knot. Hope slips in, fragile and risky. If she's telling the truth, everything he's done becomes unforgivable. A sound interrupts them. Something imagined or remembered. The boy freezes, eyes darting toward empty space, reacting to a presence she can't see. She notices his focus drift. Fear returns to her face, sharper now. She realizes the house isn't holding just two people, it's crowded with something unresolved and hungry. He asks her to prove it. To acknowledge what he sees. To confirm the presence that's been with him since the beginning, filling every silence she tried to erase. She can't. And in that failure, the last bridge collapses. The boy steps back, choosing certainty over comfort, even if certainty means everything must burn. The smell of fuel fills the room. Panic spikes. She screams now, no longer careful, no longer composed, finally sounding like someone who knows they're about to lose everything. Flames catch fast, climbing walls like they've been waiting. The house reveals its final secret: it was never a refuge, only a container for grief soaked too deep to save. Outside, sirens arrive too late. Smoke rises into a quiet sky. Somewhere between ash and memory, the boy watches, convinced the truth survived, even if no one else did. Firefighters move like ghosts through smoke, their faces unreadable. The boy stays back, clutching certainty like armor, believing the flames only erased a lie that refused to stop breathing. Inside the wreckage, rooms lose their shape. Familiar corners melt into blackened outlines, and the boy realizes memories burn faster than walls, leaving gaps no explanation can fill. Authorities ask questions gently, carefully. He answers with rehearsed clarity, repeating the same truth until it sounds solid, until doubt feels like a foreign language he no longer speaks. They mention grief, trauma, adjustment. Words slide past him. He knows what he saw, what he heard, what stood beside him when no one else was looking. That night, sleep comes easily for the first time. The house is gone. The rules are gone. Silence feels earned now, not enforced, and it hums softly around him. In dreams, footsteps return. Not hers. Lighter. Familiar. The boy smiles without waking, because some things don't need permission to stay. Days pass. The world resumes its rhythm. Adults decide outcomes around him, assuming time will sand down the sharp edges of what happened. Time, however, listens to the boy instead. He talks out loud more now, answering questions that never come from visible mouths. To outsiders, it looks like coping. To him, it feels like continuity. At the edge of a field, he stops, listening. The wind moves crops in patterns too deliberate to ignore. He nods, reassured, as if receiving instructions only he can hear. The woman's face returns in fragments. Bandages. Bruises. Fear. He rearranges the memory carefully, trimming moments that threaten the version of events he's chosen to keep. Professionals explain loss in soft tones, suggesting acceptance as a finish line. The boy wonders why everyone insists on endings when some stories clearly prefer to loop. At night, he sets an extra place before stopping himself. Old habits resist correction. He eats anyway, convinced company is present whether plates agree or not. He revisits the ruins once more, drawn by something unfinished. Ash crunches underfoot, and the air still tastes like decisions made too fast to undo. A firefighter's tape flutters loose, tapping his leg like a reminder. He steps over it easily. Barriers have never meant much to him. In the quiet, he hears laughter echo where rooms once stood. It sounds right. It sounds earned. He leaves before anyone can tell him it isn't real. The future opens like a road with missing signs. Adults see risk. He sees freedom from correction, from being told what must be forgotten to move forward. Sometimes guilt knocks softly. He answers by reminding himself that truth demanded proof, and proof always leaves damage behind. That's not cruelty, it's physics. He practices conversations under his breath, making sure answers stay aligned. Consistency becomes comfort, and comfort becomes the only authority he trusts. When strangers mention his mother, he doesn't correct them. He simply nods, picturing a version of her that fits safely beside the companion only he can see. Memory edits itself again. The bandages fade. The shouting softens. What remains is a simpler image, one that doesn't argue back or demand proof. He walks fields at dusk, feeling watched in a way that feels protective. The sky lowers, and for once, the weight doesn't feel unbearable. Sometimes he stops and waits, allowing silence to answer first. Silence never contradicts him. That's why he trusts it more than people. The fire becomes a story others tell. He lets them. Stories change shape when retold, and shape is everything when you're trying to survive your own mind. At night, he dreams of three figures walking side by side, no gaps between them. He wakes comforted, convinced balance has finally been restored. Morning light doesn't challenge the dream. It accepts it. The boy carries that acceptance with him, wearing it like proof no one can confiscate. He learns which questions to avoid, which smiles to return. Normalcy becomes another role he plays convincingly, rehearsed with the same care as his truths. Sometimes he wonders what would have happened if belief had gone the other way. The thought never lasts. Wondering invites instability, and he prefers order. He keeps moving forward, guided by voices that never argue, never leave. The world seems simpler when consensus exists entirely inside your head. At the edge of town, fields stretch endlessly. He steps into them without hesitation, convinced this is where families finally stop breaking apart. The wind rises again, carrying whispers that feel like agreement. He smiles, because agreement is all he ever wanted from anyone. Behind him, the past settles into ash and reports. Ahead, imagination builds something sturdier, something fire can't touch. He no longer distinguishes memory from presence. Both feel equally solid now, equally deserving of space beside him. The story others tell ends in tragedy. His doesn't. His continues, uninterrupted, protected by belief stronger than evidence. Somewhere deep inside, a quieter truth remains buried. It stays silent, knowing it would not survive the light he's chosen. The field opens wider, and he steps into it fully. No walls. No rules. Just togetherness shaped exactly how he needs it to be. From a distance, it almost looks peaceful. That's the most convincing part. Peace doesn't ask questions, and neither does he anymore. He slows, sensing completion. Not closure, something better. Stability, finally immune to correction. The wind settles. The world agrees. For him, that's proof enough that everything ended exactly how it was supposed to. What's real no longer matters. What stays does. He chooses what stays, and that choice feels permanent. And somewhere beyond sight, the past watches quietly, unable to follow where belief has already gone. Weeks blur together, stitched by routines that pretend nothing fractured. The boy adapts fast, learning how to smile at the right moments, how to let adults believe healing follows calendars. Inside, something settles into place, firm and unmovable. The chaos has been reorganized, labeled, and stored where it can't argue back anymore. He notices people watching him differently now. With caution. With pity. He accepts both as confirmation that his version of events has officially replaced theirs. Sometimes he catches his reflection and studies it like evidence. He looks normal enough. That matters more than feeling normal ever could. The silence he once feared now follows him obediently. It bends to his pace, filling gaps only when he allows it, never challenging the order he's built. At night, he revisits the house in fragments, not as it was, but as it should have been. Clean rooms. Soft voices. No rules written in anger. The woman appears in these thoughts, gentler now, edges sanded down. He gives her fewer words, fewer contradictions, shaping her into something that won't provoke collapse. Memory cooperates when guided firmly. He learns which details to keep distant, which to invite closer, like furniture arranged to avoid sharp corners. Adults praise his progress. Resilience, they call it. He accepts the word, even though it doesn't quite fit what he's actually done. He practices telling the story again, adjusting tone and pauses. Each retelling removes friction, until even he forgets where performance ends and belief begins. Occasionally, something presses from beneath the surface, demanding acknowledgement. He distracts himself quickly. Attention, he's learned, determines survival. He returns to the fields often, finding comfort in wide spaces that don't trap sound. Out here, nothing echoes back unless he wants it to. The wind feels familiar, like a presence keeping pace beside him. He talks quietly, careful not to draw attention from anyone who might interrupt. He imagines 3 shadows stretching across the ground. They align perfectly, never overlapping, never leaving gaps that invite questions. This version feels right. Balanced. Complete. He decides this is how families are supposed to look when nothing interferes. The past tries once more to intrude, sharp and unedited. He counters it instantly, replacing it with something quieter, something that agrees with him. Control becomes habit. Habit becomes identity. He no longer notices how much effort it takes to keep everything aligned just so. People stop checking in as often. Stability convinces them he's safe. They don't realize stability can also be a locked door. One evening, he pauses mid-step, sensing that familiar pressure again. It waits patiently, knowing he'll decide whether it gets to speak. He lets it stay silent. Silence has proven loyal. It's never tried to correct him, never asked him to choose differently. The woman's voice fades further into abstraction, less a person now, more a concept he can rearrange at will. This feels like progress. He remembers being afraid once, vaguely. The memory lacks detail, stripped of urgency, filed away where it can't influence decisions. He remembers being afraid once, vaguely. The memory lacks detail, stripped of urgency, filed away where it can't influence decisions. When he laughs, it surprises even him. The sound feels rehearsed, but effective. Effective is enough. He imagines the house one last time, not burning, not silent, just empty. Emptiness feels safer than memory. The fields welcome him again. They always do. Out here, nothing insists on being named. He feels complete, accompanied, and unchallenged. For him, that's the definition of peace. From far away, it looks like healing. Up close, it's something else entirely, but no one stands close enough to notice. He keeps walking, certain that as long as he moves forward, nothing behind him can catch up. The sun dips low, stretching shadows again. He aligns them unconsciously, correcting what reality fails to organize. Order restored. Noise reduced. Questions silenced. He carries these achievements quietly, like trophies no one else can see. If something was lost, it was necessary. That's what he tells himself, and repetition makes it sound like fact. He slows, sensing an ending approaching. Not an end, just a place where nothing else needs to change. The world seems to agree again. That agreement seals everything in place. He takes one more step forward, confident nothing behind him deserves another look. The field stretches endlessly, offering exactly what he needs, space to keep believing without interruption. Somewhere deep inside, something watches quietly, waiting. It knows belief can crack, but only if questioned. He doesn't question it. He never will. That certainty feels like the safest choice he's ever made. And so the story settles, not with truth, but with agreement, an ending sturdy enough to last. Morning returns with ordinary sounds, birds, distant cars, life continuing without asking permission. The boy wakes grounded, convinced the world has finally adjusted to him. He dresses carefully, choosing familiarity over comfort. Familiar things don't argue. They stay where you put them. Outside, the day opens clean and undecided. He likes that feeling, the sense that nothing is written unless he decides to write it himself. He walks the familiar path again, counting steps without realizing it. Order slips naturally into place when you practice long enough. The fields greet him like an agreement renewed. Tall grass bends gently, never resisting, never questioning why he's here. He stops in the center, listening. The silence answers perfectly, offering presence without demands, company without conflict. In his mind, the picture completes itself again. No missing pieces. No arguments about what belongs where. He feels watched, but not threatened. Watched like someone making sure he doesn't drift too far from what's been decided. A smile comes easily now. It doesn't stretch or strain. It fits the moment the way everything finally seems to fit. From a distance, someone might think he's alone. Distance changes everything, especially truth. The boy takes another step forward, confident nothing behind him needs correcting. Forward is where agreement lives. He hears a familiar rhythm in his head, matching his pace. It keeps him steady, reminding him he's not responsible for what was lost. Somewhere else, files are closed and conclusions finalized. None of them reach him here. He no longer wonders if things could have gone differently. Wondering opens doors, and he prefers them closed. The sky stretches wide above him, offering no judgment. He takes that as confirmation. If pain remains, it stays quiet. Quiet things survive longer. He reaches the far edge of the field and stops, sensing completion again. Balance restored, nothing demanding revision. For a moment, the wind lifts, carrying whispers that sound like agreement rather than warning. He closes his eyes briefly, sealing the moment in place. Nothing escapes once sealed. When he opens them, the world looks unchanged. That's how he knows he's done the work correctly. He turns slightly, as if acknowledging someone beside him, then faces forward again without hesitation. From here, the story doesn't need witnesses. It only needs agreement. He walks on, carrying a version of family no one can take from him. Behind him, the past stays quiet. Ahead, nothing interrupts the path he's chosen. The field stretches endlessly, offering continuity instead of answers. For him, that's enough. The world fades slightly at the edges, leaving only what agrees to stay. And so the story ends where certainty begins, quiet, balanced, and undisturbed.